Good evening, everyone. It's Necro Thursday. Hashtag Necro Thursday, which means it's time for the latest installment of the Necromaniacs podcast. How's it going, Mike?
It is going well. What's up, everybody? Tonight, you're with Mr. Hill and Mr. Scandato. We record this on a very lovely mid-August Sunday evening and bring it to you guys on Thursdays. How was your weekend?
It was nice, man. It was my mom's birthday, and I went up to visit her and hang out with my family over the weekend, and came back today, and doing errands and all this other stuff. And you, Mike, you have fun? You have a good weekend?
I did. Friday, Stella and I went to Long Beach, Long Island, which I have never been in my life, actually, that town. I don't know how, but I think maybe I've, driven through there at some point, but never actually hung out there or went to the beach. A friend of hers lives there, and we went to this private beach and a pool and had a great day because I took Friday off as a little vacation day, Mike. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Look at you.
Yes, look at me. I get a lot of paid time off that I don't use, and time to start using it, as they say. So yeah, it was a good day, good weekend.
I've been there before. I don't know if you know this, but I have ties to Long Island. The Dragones and the Molinaris, that side of the family, are Long Island people. So I have family ties on Long Island.
Yeah, I have both family from dad's and mom's side in Long Island, in Suffolk and Nassau County. So I know a little bit about Long Island. I played some cool shows in Long Island the past few years with Inhuman and The Last Stand. And yeah, I like Long Island a lot. No beef with Long Island for me.
Strong Island.
Strong Island, indeed. Yes. Suffocation. Come on, How can you front on Long Island? Yeah.
Yeah, Death Cycle,
Yeah, Death Cycle, Kill Your Idols, hell yeah. But Crumb Suckers, yeah, going way back. So it was fun. Didn't really do a ton of show going in the past week, which is something I've usually been doing. Saw a show this afternoon, saw our friends Enrage play at Bowery Electric, which was nice. I think there's a lot of shit on the horizon for September and October with shows, but August is not too crazy.
Yeah, it's a little quiet on the show front, definitely.
Yeah. And it's nice for it not to be 1,000 degrees out in the past few days, too.
This is true, man. It was oppressively hot over the last week or so, and it seems to have chilled out a bit.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah. I mean, I don't want summer to end just yet. I love me the summer. Don't get me wrong. But I'll take this 80-degree stuff, too,
I don't know if you heard, but Jeff had a run-in with a scorpion in his apartment or his house down in Austin recently.
What? No.
Yeah.
A scorpion?
Yep.
Jesus.
That's some Texas
Texas
style.
Is like Australia Junior.
Dude,
what the hell's going on?
That's some Texas shit for sure,
Oh, my God. Wait. Did he get stung?
No, but it was in it just showed up in his house. Like his 3 cats had it fucking circled. And
oh my God.
Dude. You don't see too many scorpions in Brooklyn or New Jersey, that's for sure.
No. I mean, I would burn the house down. Jesus Christ. I mean, I know Texas has these spiders too, and I'm not down with any of that. Get the hell out of here.
Hell no, man.
So wait, it sounds like something out of a movie, like the cats, circling around the scorpion. It's like, what is going on?
Yeah, and for those of you who listened last week, you probably already heard the story. But apparently, the landlord had done some kind of procedure with pest control.
Mm-hmm.
So the scorpion was a little fucked up. You know what I mean? It was had already been poisoned, so the thing just died in front of him.
Whoa! How big is it? Like 6 inches big? Like how big are these things?
Apparently, this motherfucker was the size of a rat. It was a big.
Oh
fucking,
my God! Stop!
It was like a monster, man.
Holy crap! whoa, like, I mean, I would just be like horrified slash speechless, like if I saw it. I don't know. I mean,
I
I'm a city guy, man. These things just, whoa, I can't
yeah, dude.
even wrap my head around it. You
Yeah,
know,
I would
there are listeners
probably
making fun of me right now, but hey, man, I don't give a fuck.
I would probably scream. And then I'd probably run away, man. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck
Yeah.
you do with a scorpion. I don't know what to do with. I don't know anything about a scorpion. I don't know how to make a scorpion. You know what the fuck? You know.
I mean, I would reach for the biggest book, I guess I could find, and in hopes of smashing it into oblivion. And imagine if you miss. Oh my
Dude,
God.
that fucking sketchy like stinger that it's got.
Whoa, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it could have hurt the cats though, huh, man? Jesus.
You know what? I'm not too worried about cats, bro. Honestly, they're fucking little murderers, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, cats can do damage. I mean, and they could be fighters, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, they're fast, dude.
Hmm.
You know, and they're evasive. So, I yeah, of course I would worry about the cats, but cats are fucking deadly, dude.
Hmm. Oh yeah. They're predators. They are predators,
Yeah.
cats. But I mean, wow, scorpion. That's its own episode. I
Yeah,
mean, really. I mean,
yeah.
that's really, I think some listeners would enjoy that. Um, yeah, man. Like I said, born and raised in Brooklyn, city guy. Like, if I see a bug that's a certain size, I'm not even having that. Like, and I've seen big ass bugs in Brooklyn, in New York. Border bugs, roaches, whatever the hell they
Yeah.
are. But wow, scorpion, that would take the cake,
Well,
as they say.
even where I'm from, because I'm country Mike, and you're city
Yes.
Mike.
Hmm.
Even where I grew up, they don't have scorpions. I mean, they have like
No.
like other various things, but no scorpions up there.
Yeah, you get like he's like a super exterminator. You need like forget those little canisters that they use in Brooklyn or whatever. They need like some kind of like extra strength shit.
Texas style.
Yeah. Oh, Texas style. Yeah, everything's bigger in Texas, as they say. Wow. Including horrific things that enter your home. But aside from that, a little excursion. Have you've been checking anything out that's cool?
Yeah, I saw some really cool stuff. Rennie recommended this movie called Bull,
Hmm.
and it's on Showtime, and it stars Neil Maskell, who was in Kill List. He played the character Jay,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and it's a fucking incredible movie, man. It's really
Bull.
good.
Bull.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's supernatural, and it's also a very bleak revenge film.
Oh, I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
dude.
check it out. Hmm. It's a
So
new film, 2022.
it came out in the last few years. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Okay.
relatively new. And the supernatural element, it's like if if they took that out, it would still work as a crime revenge film. But the supernatural part makes it even cooler because it's almost like my take, and this is going to segue into the next thing. It's
Hmm.
almost like this could have been a story that John Constantine would have been involved in because it's
Hmm.
British. It takes place in the UK. It has
Hmm.
like a demonic element to it, revenge, crime. Okay, so it
Okay.
almost like in another life, this same story, John Constantine could have showed up to solve the crime.
Well, it sounds fucking very cool, and I'm definitely gonna check it out. Bull on
Yeah.
Showtime.
Yep. And then
Very nice.
I'm going to segue into this next Vertigo item here. I have started watching Sandman.
Me too. I'm on episode 6.
Yeah, I and
And
so far I like it actually.
I do too. I have to say, as it's moving along, it's kind of getting better and better. I got to tell you, the episode 6 with the introduction of death. Honestly, I got like, there's that scene where they, spoiler alert, where they go and see that old man, that old Jewish man who's dying.
Hmm.
I got the chills during that scene.
Yeah.
I literally got the chills during that scene, and I thought that was great. And I think she definitely nails death's like aura and like attitude, like from the comic. I really do. So, which I was afraid of. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. If you've read something and you've been a fan of something for so long, literally nearly 30 years for me, actually, just shy of 30 years. And all of a sudden it's going to be like a TV show or a movie. It's like the expectations are fucking through the roof, right? I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and if it's not a certain way, it's going to break your heart. But honestly, so far, man, I really, really like it. And all the changes that they have made have landed as, you know what? It's fine. It's okay. I'm still loving the show. And Morpheus is literally near perfect, I feel like, this guy. No?
Yeah, the guy that got to play Morpheus is great, you know, and
Hmm.
I haven't made it up to that episode yet,
Hmm.
but yeah, there's some changes, you know, like Lucian would have been. I
Hmm.
was hoping to see him with his crazy hair and stuff,
Yeah.
but the
Hmm.
character Lucienne or whatever, she's cool.
Hmm.
I'm down with her.
Yeah. I
You know,
mean, again, it's like once you see it, like, reading about all the changes, it was like, okay, well, this has changed, that's changed, there's a gender swap, there's this, blah, blah, blah. But when you're watching it, though, I think it really just flows well and it's done well and the heart is in the right place. And like, if you're thinking to yourself that you're going to care about all that shit, I think you're not going to care as you're watching it, is what I'm saying. Like, the changes don't matter. Like, it's Sandman. Like, it's still fucking Sandman, you know?
yeah, no, that's my take on it too, man. I really enjoyed it so far, you know, and I got to get deeper into it. Um,
Yeah, and it's funny. There's a lot of very anxious viewers since apparently he's doing very well,
Good.
which I figured it would do well, but they haven't said anything about season two yet. But you know what? It began a week of literally not even 2 weeks ago. So for Netflix to not give it, okay, we've ordered season two, is kind of par for the course, and I think some fans need to be a little patient. Um, do I think it'll get a season two? Yes. I just think it's not coming tomorrow. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, be
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I don't think studios are doing that right away anymore. They're like, especially with everything that's, been going on at Warner Brothers Discovery. I think they're being a little more cautious with things. And Netflix likes to cancel shit.
right.
So, you know, let's let it breathe a little, right?
Sure. Let the season wrap up, or I mean, you know, let it have some time with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I know it's a very expensive show, but I'm okay that they haven't announced season two because I do think it will get a season two.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I picked up
Um.
a book that I've been kind of obsessing over for the last several years. It's a collection of Carl Edward Wagner's horror fiction. It's
Hmm.
rare. There's only 500 copies, and
Oh wow.
it's called When the Summer Ends. And
I like the title.
yeah, I've been scoping this out, trying to locate a copy, and I've seen it everywhere from like $200 to $500. Okay,
Mm.
yeah, it's one of those books. You know what I mean? You can't find it. It's way out of print. There isn't even like a Kindle edition of this book. So
Well, I won't ask how much you paid. I hope you paid a decent price for
oh
it.
no, I'll tell you. I'll tell you guys. I mean, you know, I, sometimes it's worth spending like some money. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I had some rewards points with Amazon, like on my
Hmm.
Amazon card. You know, I have like the
Oh wow.
credit account. You know, and I don't go crazy with spending things on credit. You know, what I mean, if I have like a balance, I pay it off at the end of the month, like that kind of thing.
Uh
And
huh.
so I had like a I think $50 maybe in credit.
Hmm.
So the I ended up paying about $100 for this
Not bad.
one of 500 volume book, and that's the cheapest I've seen it anywhere. And I was like, all right, cool. It was listed as acceptable condition, but I got to tell you, man, when I got it, it was great. I would say near mint condition. It looked like
Wow.
it looked like it might have been a library book at one point.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe a library was getting rid of stuff or whatever, and yeah, it's I've been tearing it up, man. It's great. It's like got so
Uh,
much. Two of the stories I'd already read, but like there's a bunch of material in there that it was brand new to me.
It's always fun when things get undergraded, right? Like
Yeah.
instead of overgraded. It's a nice, pleasant surprise when it's like, say you order a record on Discogs and it's VG plus. When you bring it home and it's like, oh shit, comes in the mail. It's, oh, this is fucking near mint. It's not VG plus. It's fucking perfect. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
No, totally.
that's always fun.
You know,
Yeah.
for those of you out there, like Carlo Wagner is not necessarily a household name, but you know, he's someone who I really enjoy. He passed away a number of years ago. Yeah, he was like one of those guys. He's like, you know, into like metal and punk and, you know, horror. And he had his probably most notable for Kane, his dark fantasy sword and sorcery character. But
Oh, wow.
yeah, you know, but he also had a ton of like really great horror stories out there.
Well, with something like that, I think it'll only go up in value. So good on you for getting a copy.
Yeah, I know. And what about you, Mike? You check anything out?
Um, I am completely caught up on Better Call Saul. We've got one episode left, man. Tomorrow, right? It's Better Call Saul comes out on Mondays, and this coming Monday is the final episode. So, you know, not going to spoil anything about that show, but man, do I fucking love it. It is literally up there with like my 5 favorite shows ever, honestly. Better Call Saul. What about you?
Yeah, so far I've been rediscovering it. You know, like I was telling you, I fell off, and I'm rewatching I'm on the first the first season again.
It gets better, dude. It gets better.
I'm enjoying it, though, man. I still think it's great. Like I've really been enjoying it, you know, and I'm looking forward to really getting into it.
And yeah, caught up on Animal Kingdom. I think there's only 2 episodes left of that, and then that'll be all she wrote for that. And let's see. Aside from that, again, I'm several behind on my Joe Bobs, but I literally in the midst of watching the Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker Joe Bob.
Nice.
And yeah, it's just so funny that all the stuff that we cover and then that he covers them. It's almost like, you know, you get that double whammy of information, Mike. You know, you get to hear stuff that we talked about, and then you get to hear stuff that he knows, and well, he usually knows more than we know. So that's the good part about watching his, right?
Oh hell yeah! I mean, I haven't seen that episode yet either. You know, I'm also a little bit behind on some of those, but I look forward to checking that out. I'm interested to see in his next season if he covers some of the stuff that we did recently, because there's a couple of movies we talked about that scream Last Drive-In.
I agree, and we'll see what the fates have in store for us with that.
Yeah,
and that's all I'll say there. But you know, I'm watching the new season of What We Do in the Shadows, which is the great horror comedy on FX. I'm several episodes behind. This new season is very funny, but I need to catch up because I'm hearing that I'm missing out on some like hilarious shit. But that's a great show. But yeah, that's about it. And as far as reading goes, I just finished reading a trade from Marvel, Mephisto, Speak of the Devil. It's a bunch of cool kind of one-offs of Mephisto stories, you know, that go from like his first appearance, you know, Silver Surfer back in the day. Then there's some 70s stuff, some 80s stuff, some 90s stuff, a lot of misadventures with Thanos and, you know, Doctor Strange. So yeah, I got it for like this really nice price, like not even $20, and it's got like a $40 cover price. So Mephisto, Speak of the Devil.
Nice.
My next train reading is this Flash. Jeff Johns' run of Flash, which was a really fun run of Flash back in the early aughts. I've just started reading that. Like that was a good time to be reading the Flash, actually. Jeff Johns kind of breathed new life into the character, and tons of like, you know, the Flash Rogue stuff and a lot of Reverse Flash, and, you know, just like fun DC reading. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I enjoyed that actually.
Fun modern DC reading. You know.
Jeff Johns is known for breathing life back into characters, I feel like.
He sure is, man. Yeah. I mean, some weird shit I think happened with him with the DC movie stuff. I mean, I'm not even sure what his current standing is over at DC. He kind of took a back seat from the actual writing of the comics into being very involved with the films. But then I heard he's not so much involved with the films. I don't know. I can't keep up with these things. So, but I always thought he was an awesome comic book writer. So, yeah.
Me too.
Hell yeah. Let's get to some plugs before we discuss tonight's film, Mike. What do you say?
It sounds like we're about at that point of the show. We got to talk
Yes.
about our buddies. Yeah.
Mondays. Stop what you're doing and listen to the Horror Wolf 666 podcast coming at you every Monday with new episodes, right, Mike? And on Tuesday, who do we got?
We got Jackie Smith with Into the Necrosphere. If you're
That's
a fan
right.
of extreme music and specifically black metal, definitely check out Jackie's show.
On Wednesday, we have none other than Mike Hill himself with his podcast, Everything Went Black. On Thursday, you have the podcast you're listening to right now, folks. The Necromaniacs podcast coming at you every Thursday with a new episode. And on Friday, we have Break the Apocalypse, who just celebrated their 100th episode, Mike.
Hell yeah, man. Good for them.
Yeah, they're kicking ass. Give everyone we just mentioned a follow and check them out. We've got all 5 days of your weekday covered, don't we?
You know, that's pretty cool, man. I've been like, kind of thinking about that and feeling real proud of everybody creating all this content.
Yeah, man, everybody's kicking ass.
Yeah, it's doing
everybody's
good.
Kicking ass. Everybody's checking them out. And, it's good to be a part of other good work, as they say.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Tonight, kids, old Mike Scandato is going to be covering with Mr. Hill a new movie. Past few episodes, we've done stuff from the 70s and 80s, it seems. But tonight is my turn at bat with a brand new film, a film that's been getting a lot of buzz, a film that's on this is one of the best horror movies of the year kind of, vibes. And that would be the Alex Garland film Men, right, Mike?
That's right. Men.
Now, when I first heard about this, and I think I first saw the trailer, again, I'm not sure if this was one of those Rennie email thread trailers or not, or if it actually might have been something that my brother John Draper and Shaheen might have told me about first. It's, the memories are getting jumbled. And like I saw the title of the movie and I was like, Men, okay. Is this going to be some woke garbage movie? Folks, it is not a woke garbage movie. It just has this very interesting title, Men. The trailer, though, intrigued me months back, I gotta say. Right off the bat, the trailer was intriguing because it was a creepy trailer. Mike, do you remember the trailer?
Yeah, I saw it in a theater, and I can't remember what movie. It might have been The Northman. And it was one of the definitely The Northman, because I saw it in a movie theater. Yeah, and they played the trailer. And I remember I was like, oh, this looks great, man. This looks really cool. It's got this kind of folky horror element. There's like the woods. There's some creepy guy. It's like in the English countryside. And I'm like, yeah, this is like some Arthur Macken, cool shit,
Yeah, it clicked a lot of boxes. It definitely piqued my interest. And I remember going, yep, gonna see this movie. This looks really interesting because it didn't give away the whole house, the trailer, like way too many do, right? Lately, at least for the last couple of years. And the name, I mean, I like the name is like, what the fuck is this? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, like Nope. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, what is this? What is it? You don't know what it is, I like when you don't really know what you're in store for, right?
Nope, I'm actually planning to see that. I think that that movie actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, I have not seen it yet. I'm going to see it, and I heard it takes a really wild turn, which is intriguing me even more to see it. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the filmmaker, but please don't brand me a racist or anything like that, but it's got nothing to do with that. I just don't really.
You're not a racist.
I don't. I'm not a Nazi or a white supremacist or I'm not like the Proud Boys or anything like that. I liked Get Out, but
Yes.
I don't think Peele has ever gotten back to that level of quality with any of his other movies.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, haven't seen this one. My brother saw it, and Shaheen from Break the Apocalypse, they both saw it and they liked it, and they talked about as much as they could about it without really giving anything away. And even just from what they said, 2 weeks back, I think, or whatever, I'm like, yeah, I got to see this movie.
Yeah, no, it
That-
just
that-
looks solid, and it's like
Mhm.
to me, it looks like a good summertime movie. It's like an alien. There's like spaceships.
Yeah,
It looks cool.
yeah. And there's a presence of a monkey, like, which is, again, like, I heard it's just like a trip. So, that makes me totally want to see it.
Right on.
But tonight we're not talking about that film.
We
We
are
are
not.
talking about Alec Garland's Men. And folks, I am ashamed to say I have not seen Alex Garland's film aside from Dread, Mike. That's the only
Ah.
movie of his I've seen. And he's like not even credited as the director of Dread. There's that whole kind of story about that movie. I've not seen Ex Machina, and I have not seen Annihilation, Mike. You have seen both of those movies?
Yes, yes. Both of them I liked. I
Uh-huh.
liked Ex Machina better. Annihilation was based on a book series, and it's got a little bit of a cosmic horror, like Lovecraftian kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, I really got to see it. I don't
Yeah.
know what the fuck I've been doing for the past whatever years, but I got to see these movies.
Pretty solid movie. Ex Machina, in some ways, I think, addresses some of the same topics as he does in Men. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, we could talk about that later, but there's like there's a little bit of that in there. There's like an incredibly toxic male character in Ex Machina,
Mhm.
there's that's what a lot of this film is about, but we'll get into that. But yeah, I enjoyed Ex Machina. I thought that was great.
Yeah. Just to kick it off, get the crux of the movie out of the way. 2022 folk horror film written and directed by Alex Garland, stars Jessie Buckley as a widowed woman traveling on holiday to a countryside village who becomes disturbed and tormented by strange men in the village, nearly all of which are portrayed by the same person, actor Rory Kinnear. Film was released in the States in May 20th, 2022, by the infamous, beloved by some, but not as beloved by others, A24. It was released in the UK on June 1st. What do you do? I mean, I like A24 movies for the
Sure.
most part. I know
Yeah.
I've read some people kind of giving a crap about, being a little too kind of, thinking the term elevated horror is a bad term. And I don't know. Honestly, I don't even use that term myself.
That's a
It's
fake
just
term.
it's just horror movies. It's new horror movies, and it's just different types of horror movies, and some are better than others, and that's that. Like elevated horror, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's a dumb term. Don't you agree?
Similar to like how people say like post rock and all this bullshit.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't-
your favorite, like post black metal. Your
Yeah.
favorite term ever.
I don't
Yeah.
think any I don't think anyone ever sets out to make like a elevated horror movie. I think they just
No.
like want to make a horror movie that is like smart, and artistic and creative. And yeah, some of the A24 stuff could be a little artsy fartsy for sure.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But let's not forget, they also brought us X too.
Exactly. I mean, come on. And more hits than misses, for fuck's sake, right?
Hell yeah. No, they have a lot of great stuff, man. And like I The Lighthouse,
Yeah.
fucking great movies, and the thing is, I think that horror has always been like a forward thinking genre. Like they've always been going on to the next thing, and and that's this elevated horror thing is made up. It's a made up term,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, it's like you're putting yourself in the company of good shit. You know what I'm saying? Of quality horror. Why would you not want to be among that company, right? I mean, I don't know.
I agree.
Like Hereditary is a great fucking movie.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
man,
saying?
totally.
And I definitely look. I'll be honest. There's some of those vibes here, 100%. Like that uncomfortableness in the suicide scene and the marriage scene and like that. That definitely to me gave me though the A24 horror vibes. No.
It did, and once again, it in a good way. Like it's
Yeah.
creative, it's visually appealing, like it's shot really well, the acting's good. It doesn't, that there isn't like any kind of campy nature to it, and there isn't. It's relying on actual filmmaking, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. I mean, look. Essentially, you could say there's two people in this movie:
Yeah,
Jesse Buckley and Rory Kinnear, and they're both fucking really good actors, right? I
they're
mean,
great, they're excellent.
yeah. And you know, why would you not want to see really good acting and a good script in a fucking horror movie? There's no reason to not want that. I mean, look, if trauma is your bag, maybe this isn't your bag, or maybe you like both. But
Like me
I
and
don't know,
you.
to knock something for being well done just doesn't really make sense to me.
No, and I'm, I like all kinds. Both of us, we love all sorts of
Yeah.
movies, and we like the campy stuff, we like the extreme stuff, and we like this
Hmm.
kind of stuff, like the more creative, like whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
The one thing
Yeah,
I
I gotta
have to
tell you.
say though is it's
Hmm.
funny, like the character that Jesse Buckley plays, Harper Marlowe.
Hmm.
Like I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but all the years that I spent traveling the subway in New York City, like if there this has happened to me on a number of occasions where it'd be like not super late at night but maybe like 10 o'clock where I would be sitting with maybe like a couple of seats around me and like
Hmm.
I would be going maybe on the F train through like Park Slope or something like that, and like a lady would get on the train and intentionally not sit anywhere near me, and, and
Oh yeah.
Harper
Oh,
Marlowe is that woman. That's all I have to say.
yes, she looks like that. Oh, well, yeah, she has that vibe, that look, I will say. Yeah, she does. That's a funny little take there, but I would say an accurate take. As someone who has ridden the train many times and seen women who kind of look like that, so it's kind of
Hmm.
funny. Um, but yeah, honestly, I was gonna say like I was kind of creeped out almost right away at the start of this film because the scene in the apartment with her and her husband was just very real and visceral and
Yeah.
very like kind of fucked me up, much like that suicide scene in Midsummer, was it?
Yes.
With
Oh
the
yeah.
yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
that just like really just I don't know, man. Like very kind of I guess A24 fucked upness, we'll call it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. It was super dark, man. And so, I mean, the setting of this film is that Harper is a recent widow,
Yeah.
and her husband committed suicide, as Mike said.
Hmm.
And so obviously there's a lot of emotional baggage associated with something like that. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I've actually discussed this movie a bunch with people.
Hmm.
My friend, Tina, who I've been spending a lot of time with, she hasn't seen this movie with me yet, but we were talking about it, and she was like talking about suicide and the impact of that, and people who threaten suicide if somebody is going to leave them, and how that
Mm,
is like a super fucking just fucked up abuse that you can do to somebody, and that's
yeah.
kind of like because like the husband threatens to kill himself because they're in the middle of this like breakup, you know.
Right.
So that's like one thing that's out there right now about this and male behavior, I guess.
Yeah. The title Men honestly comes into play because honestly all of the men in this movie are, well, let's just say, fucked up, right? I mean,
Yeah.
whether they're mentally fucked up or they're fucked up in the way they treat uh Harper physically or emotionally or verbally, or right, that's it's an interesting word play, right?
Yeah, it's like it's this meditation on all of the negative aspects of male behavior. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Without showing any good things at all, ever. You know, in this film, it's like there's no positive attributes being displayed by any of the male characters. It's only the negative stuff, really.
The closest, though, like, you got to say the closest is Jeffrey, who seems well-meaning, but he's kind of like up and down.
Yeah.
Like he seems like a well-meaning guy, but then he'll say something weird, like something that like 20 years ago David Brent on The Office might have said to a woman, which was like inappropriate. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's literally at times what he reminded me of. Like, I love The British Office, and the character, you know, David Brent is fucking hilarious. But like some of the things that kind of came out of Jeffrey's mouth literally reminded me of that character, which is kind of funny. But ultimately, he turns out to be obviously shitty himself. You know, again, as we're meeting the other men, like the vicar, who's the priest, and that the boy, who we'll call him, I tell you, man, that scene was also super creepy. Like, he's like a boy with a man face.
Yeah.
That CGI, like whatever special effects they used, was just very creepy. No.
By the way, just in general, there's not a lot of special effects, but when they have some kind of special effect in this film, it's incredibly well done.
Well, that ending is loaded with special effects.
Right. But I mean, it's not like the movie
out of The Thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're out of like John Carpenter's The Thing, fucking like wild, in your face kind of effects. They're like, they seem like quite practical, maybe some CGI, but a lot of it looks like it's like happening right there in front of you, which is awesome.
Yeah, but the movie's not loaded up with moments like that, though. You know?
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not. But yeah, I mean, look, in the very beginning, it's almost like you're dealing with like a spooky house, kind of like someone stalking me kind of movie. Like, you know, it's kind of like almost like a basic story of this grieving woman in this house all alone in the countryside, and the countryside's kind of spooky, right? It looks almost like something you might have even seen before, until it becomes, well, not that, right?
Yeah. You know, and there's a scene where she goes for a walk in the woods, and you know, she goes to this tunnel, and that's where she sees this guy, this man.
Yeah, and we can't even really see him too well either, which I thought was really cool. He's very in the distance.
You know, and you know, I'm Country Mike. You know, I grew up in the country. You know what I mean? And I used to go for walks in the woods when I was a kid. So I remember one time, man, I was like way out, far away from the main road, and I saw a group of guys out there. I couldn't tell what they were doing, but they saw me, and it was like super fucking scary. And that scene reminded me of that, because they saw me, and then like I was like, oh shit, these guys see me, and then I just turned around and I fucking ran. You know what I mean? Because I was a little kid, you know, and who the fuck knows what they did to me? You know what I mean?
No, totally. I mean, it is really well shot, this movie. I already said how well acted it is. It is really nice looking film. I mean, the cinematography and the outside scenes and like the colors, and it's, you know, it's very like easy on the eyes if you're into this kind of like occult kind of folk thing. Like, it has those trappings, but I don't think it relies too heavily on that, you know, because it does mix in like drama, you know, and it mixes in like just kind of like you don't really know what the fuck is going to happen next, right?
Yeah, what I found interesting was like let's talk about this naked guy that's out there.
Yeah,
out there.
The occulty aspect. Yes.
Yeah, because he's like a kind of like the linchpin of the story with Harper out there in her creepy house, you know, and you know, so she saw the guy out in the woods, right, and then there's this whole part of the film where he shows up on the property of the house that she's staying at. And she's like, you know, just looking in the windows, and you see him in the background. And
see him, but she doesn't see him. Yes.
Yeah. Like
the viewer sees him.
Yep. She has a friend that's back in the city. I forgot what was her name. Her friend, but
Gail.
Gail. Yeah,
Riley. Played by Gail Rankin.
Yep.
Riley. Yeah. Sorry.
Riley is her buddy that lives back in the city, and they have these like Skype conversations, like they're checking in on each other, and she's like her friend. And during one of the conversations, there you can see over her shoulder the figure of a nude man out in the field. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so there's this lurking presence that's uncomfortable, and the fact that he's naked too. You know what I mean? It's like creepy. And that is, motivates her to, call the police. And that's when we start seeing the interaction of the police, and they pick the guy up. And then the kind of indifference to this guy. It's like, well.
Yeah, like the cops aren't, like, especially the male cop is kind of a dick. Like he's, and the female cop is asking her questions. Female cop seems nice enough, but things seem a bit off. Right? I mean, with their response and the way
totally.
they're kind of treating the scenario.
Yeah, and I guess that's like where you start getting the sense of like the trappings of like the folk horror genre. Like usually in those stories, there's a small town. There's the locals who seem to have their own understanding of things. The outsider, Harper, she's the outsider. And then there's like the strange happenings. Right. And I wouldn't say that there's a couple other things in the film, like the Green Man, like they have, they're in like a church, and then you see this carving of the Green Man. And that's, for anyone out there who's familiar with like, British folklore or like Northern European folklore, there's like the idea that there's an entity, a woods entity called the Green Man. And he shows up. They have him in church. A lot of British Christian churches have him, and different pubs. It's like a thing in England. Okay, now.
Yes, he's a symbol of rebirth, and representing the cycle of new growth that happens every spring. And also, along with the Green Man, there's what is called the Sheila Nagig as well, which is the carving of a naked woman with an exaggerated vulva. These two carvings are next to each other in this church, the Green Man and the Sheila Nagig. And the Green Man comes into play, I think, obviously quite heavily, because apparently it is spring when this movie is happening.
Yeah.
And, again, we refer to this creepy, strange guy as the Green Man. And, yeah, I mean, again, before we started the show, I was talking to Mike about how sometimes a lot of these, like the folk horror stuff, like for me personally as a viewer, as much as I like it, I personally am not super versed in all kind of pagan, things, so to speak. Right. So I usually like to go back and read up on either the movie or watch a YouTube clip or go on Wikipedia. And like the Green Man is kind of like a perfect example of that. Like, you kind of like, well, what the fuck is it? Right.
Yeah. Well, the other aspect of the Green Man is, he's related to the entity's called, Cernunnos and, the king of the hunt. Okay. Now the Green Man goes into the underworld during the winter and is killed by, and I forget the name of the female character. Okay, so there's that, which
the Sheila Nagig.
It could be. I'm trying to remember the actual name, man. But it's like I should have actually researched this before the episode. But that's what was going through my mind when I was watching this. How he's the Green Man. Why? He seems to be like a fucking destroyer. He doesn't seem like to have anything to do with rebirth, really, except for that one scene that comes down later.
Well, no, I mean, here's the thing. Here's what I got out of it with the Green Man and the repeated rebirths at the very end of the movie. If you think about it, all of those rebirths didn't involve a woman, didn't involve Sheila Nagig, didn't involve Jesse Buckley's Harper character. Therefore, they were all men
Yeah.
and they were all the same man, meaning you're getting a repeat of the same shit. Like without a woman, it's just a repeated cycle of bad shit, like over and over again. And the in this case in the movie, the bad shit of all the shitty men that she has met and her shitty ex-husband. That's
Yeah,
what I got out of
because
it.
like that's once again we're probably ruining the spoiling the film, but like fuck it, you have to
No, I
talk
know.
about it.
Well, look, we got to tell listeners this movie is really hard to talk about without kind of doing that, honestly. No?
Exactly, but also this is our take on what's going on too.
Yeah, it's our
So
take.
yeah, so I mean,
Exactly.
you might someone out there you might watch this movie and be like, oh, no, I think it was this. So I think that's why it validates us spoiling the film
Hmm.
because this is what you and I like are coming up with. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's a trippy movie, man, and there's a lot of. I
it's
mean,
very trippy.
yeah, this is not ruining it. This is not ruining the viewing experience by going into all this stuff because it's a tripped out film.
It really is. And it's, I mean, the last, what is it, 20 minutes is really unlike anything you'll probably see this year in horror, or
Yeah, no,
maybe in the
absolutely.
next couple of years. Um, aside from like the body horror stuff, obviously,
Yeah.
like the new Cronenberg. I mean, but that's different from even this, right, Mike? I mean, when you say,
This is really its own thing, man. Because it's like I said, yeah, technically, I guess you can call it a folk horror film, but it's more of like a meditation, like a hallucinogenic meditation on men and women relating to each other, and without being like woke, it really is a
no, I
it.
don't think it's
Nah,
not woke at
man.
all. It's real. It's
Yeah,
like it's guttural and real and visceral. I just, it's not a happy film. I
I mean,
mean,
we're
it's
not let
not.
let's not pretend like men are perfect. You know what I mean? Like
No,
I know
yeah.
nowadays, these days I'm super defensive of women attacking men, for being,
Hmm.
for masculinity and oh no, you can't lift weights, anymore because it's
Hmm.
cool to be a fat fuck these days and like it's all good to be like, some fucking weak ass like, it's like it's not cool to be strong. I guess that's kind of like what I'm getting at. But like, this doesn't really do that. This is a very, very deep emotional exploration of the frailties and shortcomings of men, really.
Yeah, and in this particular woman's life, it's her story. It's not. I don't think it's a blanket term. I think
Yeah,
it's a story. It's a singular story. It can be extremely relatable, though. Hell, it can be relatable to a man in a relationship with a shitty woman.
yep,
No, I mean,
totally.
absolutely. Like there have been men in relationships with women who threatened suicide and threatened this and cause violence and pain and emotional damage and physical damage. So honestly, it's a relatable film for either sex, in my opinion. But it does a really good job of showing, aside from the occult, pagan, folklore stuff, like the dark, shitty relationship that you could have with somebody who you're trying to leave, rightfully so, and they're making it impossible to do that. And it's just kind of like harsh. It's a harsh movie at
It
times.
is a harsh film, no doubt. And let's get it. Let's just put this out there for sure. Like her
Hmm.
husband's a fucking asshole for killing himself.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, man. You're with someone who's a shitty guy. You know, he's physically punched you in the face. Okay, which he does in this movie,
That's
which is
right.
another hard scene. He's threatened suicide if you leave him. Um, Blaming pretty much everything on you. We don't. That's the interesting thing. We don't even know like everything, right? I mean, we know enough though. You know, we know that he sucks, but we don't even really know like a ton about the relationship. One could say, but it's like enough to know she's got to get the fuck out of there,
Yeah,
right?
like you side with her.
Yeah. Oh, you do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like you
Clearly.
get the sense that this guy's a weak piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And he punches her. He's gaslighting her, and
Yep.
all of this stuff is reflected back when she's at the house and she starts meeting
Hmm.
these different incarnations of the same guy, basically.
And viewers, the very interesting thing that Alex Garland does is, if you're really paying attention, these guys all look alike too,
Yeah, they're
because
the
they
same
are literally
actor.
played by the same person, Rory Kinnear. Um, I think it hit me. I'm trying to remember at the point it hit me that, oh my God, this is the same person. Like you're supposed to even realize it's the same person, because it's a representative of kind of her ex-husband, right? I mean, it's like a lot of interesting things come into play, and I feel like it's so important to not lose that while you're watching this movie. Some people I've read did not like this movie at all. But I don't know. I feel like, again, it made it so kind of like original and different, I thought. Like this whole idea that, the really shitty guy in her life is in a way the guys, the new men that she's meeting are just representations of this horrible former relationship and marriage. And each guy has that she meets in the town is basically representative of one of his shitty qualities. I thought that was great.
Yeah, it's really well done, and the creepiest is, well, there's two creeps. The thing that I found really disturbing was the kid with the dude's face. He had this creepy ass like rat face. It's like,
like it's like a man face. Weird, yeah.
And he just seems so menacing too. Like he wanted her to play. He runs into her in, like, I think in the cemetery maybe, or
churchyard cemetery.
Yeah, and he wants to like play hide and seek with her, and she's like, no, and he gets like super aggressive, and then you're like, what the hell is this kid gonna do, man? You know what I mean? Like, I felt like really fucking uncomfortable, like with this guy, this little kid with this like male, like grown up rat face that he has.
And he bears a likeness to Jeffrey. The vicar at the church bears a likeness. They all bear a likeness to Jeffrey, the guy who showed her around the house, the guy who owns the house. But a little off, like, the hair is different, or this is a little different, but the facial structure is the same. And the boy, as we'll call him, is wearing this mask, this creepy, like female mask of like a girl with blonde hair, right? Like those old school Halloween masks.
Yeah.
I thought that was super creepy too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So he's like, and he makes an appearance later on in the film, and also the vicar, and I'm going to tell you about the vicar, why I found that guy really, really unsavory. All right, you know how like, I know a lot of you guys out there have probably experienced, like, you got, your ex-girlfriend or your girlfriend or whatever, and there's like some dude who's friends, you know what I mean? And like, but you suspect
who move on in, once they know the relationship is over.
Yeah, you suspect like he's playing some kind of long game, where he's like planning on you guys breaking up at some point so he can step in. You know what I mean? And those are the kinds of guys that you just they're not my kind of guys. You know what I mean?
No.
So the vicar had that vibe. He's supposed to be a man of God, right? He's supposed to be, this holy man, right? And he runs into her at the church cemetery, and he's like, "Oh, you seem like you need someone to talk to," and he's just very understanding, and she tells him that her husband, punched her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when his true colors come out, where he's like, well, did you give him an opportunity to apologize and this?
Yeah.
And the whole gaslighting aspect to him comes out. And then you're like, oh yeah, this guy's like a total piece of shit. Like
and his hand is on her knee.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's like, you need someone to talk to. And you see his hand, he puts his hand on her leg, like all creepy and everything. And I'm like, piece of shit. Look at this guy. He's like, totally like, like I'm saying, like, one of those guys. Oh, you can trust me, man. Oh yeah, tell me about him. Like when you got some lady that you're with, and some guys like, tell me all the bad things about Mike. What a horrible person he was, and all this stuff. Meanwhile, that guy's playing the game. He's playing this game. That's kind of how I felt.
The vicar represents the kind of, maybe the sleazier aspect of the husband, right? The gaslighting aspect. The boy represents the anger and the violence, I feel like, of the husband.
Yes,
And I think Jeffrey represents the dismissiveness of the husband.
that's right.
Because Jeffrey is like Jeffrey's like, oh, everything's fine and this and that, and he makes these jokes, and you know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of what I took it as. And the policeman is also very dismissive, who's also played by Rory Kinnear. Um, Again, all these qualities that kind of add up, you know.
Yeah, yeah, totally, man. And yeah, it's really well done the way they do that. Each one of these men is like a different aspect, you know, and it's like, yeah, this whole movie is like this kind of meditation about her failed relationship and the shittiness of this one guy. And I guess that's kind of like you know, going into this movie, I was like, all right, they're just gonna bash all men, you know, and it's gonna be this thing, and I'm gonna feel pissed off at the end, like everyone's the same. But I didn't really get that sense. You know what I mean? I got the sense
No,
that
not
it's
at all.
like
Me
very
either.
specific. It's very like, okay, this is about like, you know, like the bad things that a woman or anyone really, you know, you can superimpose this over any relationship. It's like a bad relationship film, you know?
Agree 100%.
Yeah.
The thing is, I almost feel like the occult. Imagine if they took the occult angle out of the movie and just kind of based it around meeting these guys, you know, in the. I don't know. It almost feels like two movies at once, right? In a weird way. No.
Yeah, I could see that, you know. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's a good point. You know, without the occult angle, it just kind of makes it a relationship drama, you know?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like a dark drama. At some point in the movie, it was reminding me a bit of the Babadook in that where I was asking myself, is all of this real? Is all of this kind of really happening? Or is she just basically a tormented, griefed woman? Did anything like that come across your head?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, because there are certain things in the film, like seeing the naked guy, you know what I mean, and the cops being like, okay, it's just like this vagrant, you know, and then I thought that maybe everything other than that might have been like some, you know, stress related hallucination, you know what I mean? But what actually ties it into reality is her friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I'm with you, but for the sake of the movie, I believe that everything that we saw on screen was intended to actually have happened. I don't think any of it was a hallucination.
Right. And speaking of the friend, Riley, played by Gail Rankin. Gail Rankin was in the very cool Glow on Netflix. Did you watch Glow?
I haven't, man. I haven't checked that out.
That was actually very good. It was like 2 seasons. Very cool. And she's in the movie Her Smell with what's her name from Mad Men, Elizabeth Moss. Check that movie out, by the way.
Her
That's a
Smell.
really cool movie. Yeah, Her Smell. Yep. That's the name of the movie.
Wow.
It's about a female rock star. Very wild movie. Very interesting. You'll dig it. But the thing is, like, did you notice when she was on the phone with the friend, like, the weird, like, phone issues? Like, what was that about? Did you, like, you know,
Yeah.
like, that represented something, and I'm not sure exactly what that something was.
Well, I couldn't really come up with anything, only because like you got to remember she's out in the hinterlands somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
so it's conceivable that they might not have the best like internet connection and that
No,
sort of
right.
thing.
Yes.
But it was very intentional, you know.
Yes.
That, and I haven't really been able to work out what that meant, if anything, you know.
Mm. Well, the other thing about her friend, you know, as we get to the end of the film, is that we see that the friend is pregnant, and we never knew she was pregnant throughout this
Right.
whole time,
That's right.
which ties in Rebirth and ties in The Green Man and ties in the spring season, which the movie takes place in. So there's something there, obviously, because again, like you were saying, like, you believe everything did happen. To me, I guess what eventually reinforced the fact that everything did happen was at the very end. The friend pulls up and sees like the mess of the front yard, and she sees like blood everywhere, and it's like, okay, shit, something happened, you know. And yeah, and she gets out of the car, and she's pregnant, and she sees Harper sitting on like steps or whatever, and Harper like smiles and looks at her. And again, I feel like there's just so much going on.
Yeah.
you know,
Like
it's like,
another thought that came to mind was that like maybe and they didn't really go into this, and there was really no other than me just thinking of this didn't really pop into this. Wasn't justified. This is just a thought that I had, was that maybe she went on a murder rampage and just fucking killed these people because of her grief, and any kind of like a lot of these like things that you saw were induced by her own grief. But that kind of goes against the whole message of the movie. Like that actually would be in line with gaslighting somebody. You know what I mean? That she lost her mind. She's crazy. She went nuts and killed all these people. And I don't think that was the point of the film. So that's why ultimately that angle, I think, isn't really accurate for the movie.
right. Look, and a bunch of bonkers shit happens before the friend shows up. Got a little ahead of myself. Um, involving a knife and splitting an arm in two, and this again, it literally just reminded me of John Carpenter's The Thing. The last 20 minutes of the film.
Totally.
Um, I almost kind of want to leave that alone for the listeners. To exactly what transpires, but it's a lot of just people coming out of other people. Let's just say,
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing about how that reminded me of that some of the better parts of the more compelling like effects in The Thing superimposed over this storyline just were really horrific.
And I mean, I will say that the last person to be birthed is James, the husband, and he's naked and covered in blood or whatever the hell, and she just finally asks him, "What do you want from me?" And he just replies, "I want your love." And that's when the friend arrives at the house, and it's just like, again, it's like, did she kill him? Because she had an axe in her hand. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but what is there to kill? Like, is he even like? Is he there? Like, what? Like, honestly, I almost felt like that was. She didn't kill him. He's dead. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I feel like what that was the closure. And that's why, like, when her friend pulls up and sees her outside and she's alive and she's smiling, like, I don't know, maybe like it was symbolic closure. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I dig that, man. I can get with that because she seems at peace at the end.
Yes.
And I guess like in a larger sense, like maybe that's like, part of the whole trip of the movie is like, you have to go through hell to get through all this like stuff. You know what I mean? Like people who go through abuse have to, maybe kill certain aspects of themselves, and kill certain aspects of this person that's putting him through this stuff to get on the other side of it,
Weird reviews of this movie out there, man. Kevin Mayer of The Times gave it a 2 out of 5. It culminates in a protracted, effects-filled birthing sequence that manages, after 90 minutes of man-hating, to be aggressively misogynistic. That was misogynistic after 90 minutes of man-hating. And then we get another 2 out of 5 from The Independent. It suggests that all a male filmmaker needs to do to earn his feminist credentials is to show us men doing bad things.
Yeah, that's not fair.
No, it's not. Rolling Stone, too much is spent reiterating certain gorish thrills and slick political points that don't benefit from the added scrutiny encouraged by repetition, even the grand, ecstatic, pathetic fear of the movie's climax fizzles rather than shimmers. I don't think these people reviewing this are into horror films.
Nah, and they're also coming from like the patriot.com far right
Well,
point of
no,
view.
obviously the Rolling Stone people are not. I doubt that's where they're coming from. But I feel like, why do you and I not feel like we watched 90 minutes of man hating
I don't
first?
know, and that's
I
the
didn't
thing.
feel
It's like
like that.
I'm like really sensitive about that shit.
Yes,
I do a
so
lot of
am I.
stuff. I do a lot of things that most women probably think is toxic. You know what I mean? As far as like I fucking lift weights, I like, I train fucking combat sports and shit like that, and like I play in a fucking extreme metal band. And it's like,
Yeah, like I didn't see this movie as anti-male or
nah, totally.
like, that's not really what I got out of it. Like I said before, I just got out of it what a shitty guy. Again, and you could flip this. You could totally flip this. Just what a shitty person can do to somebody with a suicide. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I looked at it in a very different way, I guess, and put the whole occult folklore thing to the side.
Yeah, I don't even think you needed that actually.
I mean, I don't know, but I guess I could see how some people. Again, it's very split, like 2.5s and 3 out of 5s, and interesting. I don't know. Um, Again, it's not an easy film. It's a difficult film. It's not an easy, It's not a feel good horror film, as they say. But it's a fucking good movie. It's a very good movie, I thought.
Yeah, I really dug it, man, and I was really surprised actually by how much I liked it because I had a bias actually going into this movie. To be honest, I was prepared not to like it.
Yeah, Peter Travers of ABC News. This is an interesting. With the male need to control women hitting a new flashpoint, Alex Garland's urgent provocation stars the great Jesse Buckley as a widow threatened on all sides by toxic masculinity. Though Garland is stingy with answers, his implications are incendiary. Well, that was a good review. Yeah, it is about toxic masculinity to a degree, but I don't know, not in a way where it's like some of our listeners would be like, "Oh, I can't wait to see this movie." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, I mean, let's be real, man. I mean, it's not without. I mean, men didn't earn that without reason. You know what I mean? I'm not saying
sure.
like, look, don't look here. Before you guys get crazy out there, you got to remember this is Mike Hill talking here.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be like some woke asshole, but like the reality is like men do fucked up shit.
Yes.
And gaslighting, abuse, threatening to kill yourself, just general weakness. Those are like that shit happens, man. And it's naive to think that that's not part of the man-woman experience. You know what I mean?
Right. And for Alex Garland to put that with an occult green man backdrop is fucking really cool. I mean, I've never, it's original. I think it's an original concept.
Totally. Yeah, definitely. And it's like, in this day and age, I think, I don't know. If I were a filmmaker, I don't think I would make a film like that in this day and age. But like, but then again, if a woman made it, I probably would have a different feeling about it too.
Yeah. Look, I would urge our listeners to fucking see this movie and decide for yourself. Some will like it, some will love it, some will not like it. I give this a super solid 4 out of 5.
Yeah, me too, man.
Okay, yeah,
I'm with you. I'm on board. And
totally.
Yeah.
I want to see his other films, which I'm sure are quite different from this film. But if he wants to do another like horror film, I will check that shit out.
Yeah, well, Ex Machina and Annihilation are horror sci-fi.
Oh, okay. I thought they were just sci-fi.
No. I mean, especially Annihilation. Annihilation has this kind of Lovecraftian, like cosmic horror vibe to it. I would say more so than science fiction, really.
Cool.
And Ex Machina is, it's a hard sci-fi film because it has to do with an android, but there's horrific elements to it. You know what I mean? And once again, that film covers some of the same ground that this movie covers. Because, like, there's a male scientist who creates a female android.
Mm-hmm.
And there, you could discover that. There's sketchiness associated with all that stuff too.
Garland wrote 28 Days Later. How about that? That's fucking great. Great story. Great script. Great script.
Yeah, absolutely.
He directed Dread. I love that fucking movie.
Yeah, that's great.
The script for it. But apparently, Carl Urban said, who's in the film, who's obviously the big star of Boys now, said that Garland deserves all the credit for directing Dread. I don't know what the whole brouhaha behind Dread is. I need to read up on that.
Yeah, I didn't know that he had any involvement in that movie.
Yeah, apparently so. But folks, see this movie. I think it's going to be like a top fiver for some on a lot of lists this year. Honestly, a couple people I know have called this their favorite horror movie of the year so far, which is interesting.
It's up there for me too, and I got to be honest, man. I was shocked at how much I like this. Because like I said, as soon as I remember sitting in the movie theater at the Menlo Park AMC, watching The Northman, right? Getting ready for some fucking male-dominated brutality, and then this trailer comes up, and I was like, oh great, look at this fucking movie. This is probably gonna tell me about what a piece of shit I am, when I go watch it. But so I went into it with that bias, man. But I gotta be honest, man, I fucking liked it a lot. 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I do not think that's what this movie does. No, it does not.
Dread also features Lena Headey.
Who?
Lena Headey.
That's right. From Game of Thrones.
Big fan of hers.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah.
Next week, House of the Dragon. Looking forward to that. New Game of Thrones.
Hell yeah. That's I'm really looking forward to that. We're Game of Thrones fans.
Hell yes.
I'm looking forward to that for sure.
And no pressure for that one to be a hit. No pressure.
No, of course not, man.
No pressure. But this was a fun episode. Thank you all for listening and checking us out. If you're new, we welcome you. If you're an old timer, thank you for sticking around. Please be sure to subscribe to our show via either Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts from. Right, Mike?
That's right, man. And, we'll be coming at you guys every Necro Thursday. #Necro Thursday.
Necro Thursday. I like it, Mike. I like it.
Yeah, man. Talk to you guys next week.
See you next time.